it sounds very successful. You only started 2 years ago and already, my goodness.
I think it's funny because, you know, success is an interesting concept, isn't it? It doesn't, in some respects, it's really just me doing it. There is a board of directors for Gamelan At Play, the community interest company, but I'm the manager of that organisation, so it largely comes down to me. And working in partnership with the other organisations to put on the festival is going to be a very exciting thing for me because it's really widening my experience and my links with other organisations, which is great. So, but in terms of success, sometimes when you're working as an individual on something, and you're the one who's doing everything from making the tea to putting in the funding applications to actually delivering the work, it can seem you can get very bogged down and you don't really necessarily see the successes. And sometimes you have to step back a little bit and actually review what it is you've actually done. And yes, so success can be measured in different ways. We've just I delivered a project, a 4-week project from the middle of October to the middle of November in this year, where I took my instruments out on a residency to a local youth centre and then worked with all of the different groups that used that centre, including disabled groups and school groups and various other groups. And one of the groups that I worked with there was a women's group, a small group of women who are recovering from overcoming addictions of various sort, alcohol abuse and drug abuse. And they are fabulous women, absolutely wonderful women. I've really enjoyed working with them. They've worked very hard. They've literally just had 3 sessions so far, 3, maybe 1 to 1.5 hour sessions. And in that time, they've learnt 1 traditional tune, they've composed a tune of their own, and we've got the opportunity to, at the end of this week, the end of December, the Sage Gateshead is having a welcoming ceremony to welcome their own instruments, Dwi Gambira Sari, to the northeast. And they've invited a number of different groups in the area to come and perform at the Sage Gateshead, which is a very prestigious music venue on Tyneside. So I've been given the opportunity to take a group. I'm taking this group of women. These are women who have never played a musical instrument before. They have never been in the music venue before. It's a music venue very much like the Royal Festival Hall that we're in here. This is very much out of their experience that they're doing, but they are so excited about the prospect of coming and performing in that situation. And it's just wonderful to see how just those 3 sessions in probably less than 4 hours, their confidence has grown massively from this experience. And that's success. As far as I'm concerned, that's the success. It's seeing how much they've grown in such a short space of time. And their musical performance may not be the most wonderful musical performance, but in terms of self-esteem and courage and all of those things, they're giants. It's just brilliant. It's wonderful.
How did this women group, how did they take it when they started learning gamelan?
To begin with, they were a little bit, this is a bit different, we're not really quite sure about this, but then as soon as they sit down and they actually pick up a beater, and they all do well, I don't know if I can do that, I'm not really musical. No, it's fine, you just pick up a beater and you just hit something, I'll tell you what to do, it's all right. So, and they soon get into it. And the beauty of it is that you can bring a group of people who are complete beginners, absolute non-musicians, and you can have them playing successfully as part of an ensemble in less than an hour, which is magical, absolutely magical. That's really its strength as far as I'm concerned.
Is it generally when you are teaching like that?
Yeah, absolutely. And it doesn't really matter what the background or the ability level of the group is. Sometimes it can be extremely noisy in my workshops, especially when you've got enthusiastic young people, but it's great fun. And
How about school kids?
School kids take to it wonderfully. They really take to it wonderfully. And often it can be the school children who are it can often be the children who the staff are worried about. The staff might be worried that they're going to be a little bit disruptive or what have you. They're not at all. They take to it beautifully. And so many of them say afterwards, you know, that they found it really calming, really relaxing. And that's got to be a fantastic benefit.
Wow. What kind of music do you normally teach? Traditional or contemporary, or did you ask them to compose?
Okay, I teach traditionally because when I bought my gamelan, when I acquired this wonderful set of instruments nearly 2 years ago, I knew how to play one tune. That was all. I couldn't play anything else. I knew how to play one tune. And many people thought that I was completely mad buying a set of instruments and setting up this business on the strength of knowing one tune. I now know more than one tune, I have to say. I've learned a lot more and I've grown in the process. But I think so long as you're using a traditional lancharan is just such a very simple structure to be able to introduce people, and it gets the idea. Then I often use composition techniques, which is just a very simple way of doing it, just literally asking each person in the group in turn to choose the next number in the sequence, and we make up a sequence and then we arrange it in a lancharan style. So, and they listen to it, they play it and they listen to it, and if they want to adjust something they can adjust it until it's what they want it to sound like. So it's a very simple, straightforward technique, and it works. It's formulaic, but it works.
What do you get out of playing gamelan or teaching gamelan? What do you get out of it?
The joy of being part of a group. I think it's and that sense of community. I talked about that before. It feels like it's, you know, that it's putting the unity back in community, if you understand what I mean. It's bringing everybody together. Nobody is elevated above anybody else. Everybody's as important as everybody else. And but you're all needing to listen to each other, to work together, to cooperate, and that's one of the most fundamental basic blocks, building blocks of society. That you know, it's helping to create a much more caring and nurturing society on its widest sense. That's really what I think that's what gives me a buzz about it. But I also love playing. I just love playing it myself. So, and learning.
How does gamelan fit in the society in the UK, do you think?
Well, again, I think it's that thing to do with creating community and building stronger communities. I think it's got the capacity to help people to overcome barriers and to learn to understand more about each other and to work out where you fit in within a group. So, used in that context, it's a way of being able to build a more harmonised society. So I think it's got a lot to offer. It's got a lot to offer in the wider community.
Would you like to add something there?
What would I like to add? I'd like to add, come along to our festival next year. It's going to be brilliant.